creating magic. Simply knowing the tricks isn't enough. You've got to be crystal clear on your focus. Our final module here is where it all comes together. We started out with an introduction to speaking wizardry. We learned about 5 tricks to truly make speaking magical. But now, before you step on stage, we need to talk about how you say what you say. We need to talk about the presentation itself. Making speaking magical is all about focus. When you communicate with focus, you make the most of your message. So, you may be getting excited about getting up on stage because you've got your balloon object lesson, you've got your questions to ask the audience all worked out, the emotional details of your story, you've done your research, and your opener is a killer joke that lets them know you know what they're going through. But what are you even talking about? How are you going to shift from one point to the next? How many points do you even have, and are they related? Are you using slides? And maybe most importantly, how are you going to end? In the creating videos, we've talked about putting these tricks into motion and putting them in a good framework. Now, in this last module, we'll nail down the finer points that will be the difference between transforming your audience or transitioning out of your role as a public speaker. It all comes down to focus. Focus on your one idea, focus on the end, and focus on how you say it all. Let's start with focus on your one idea. If you don't know what you're focused on as a communicator, then your audience doesn't stand a chance remembering what you said because they won't know either. You need one idea to get across, not 7, not 3, just 1. If you don't have your one focused idea, there's no amount of magical tricks that will help your audience be transformed by your message. One focus, one idea, one message. When you have that, then you can begin working out which tricks will help you get the idea out to your audience in the most effective and memorable way possible. With a clear focus for what you're aiming at in your communication, the audience is significantly more equipped to remember and be transformed by your message. In my live videos you've been following along with, I have 5 points, but the one focus is this: creating confidence is possible, as long as you're willing to move. What I've seen too many speakers do is think that they're giving 5 points for one idea, but in reality it's 5 ideas and they couldn't decide which was best. This is especially difficult, it seems, for teachers and pastors who may have to draw from a few ideas together to form one passage of text to teach. But I'm not sure I buy that as an excuse. I've been there and I know that the most transformative messages are the ones that had one clear takeaway. All of these tricks are meant to enhance one point that you're trying to make. If you go into a talk with the focus of your audience knowing last year's sales numbers and brainstorming ways to raise those numbers, great. You now have a focus. Now, use one or some of these tricks and you can be sure the information will turn into transformation. You don't want those numbers you worked hard to organize to stay in this room, do you? You want to give those measly little numbers every opportunity to jump off the projection and into the mind of your audience so they care as much as you do. The good news is that it's not that complicated. Just add some magic. Focus on the end. We want to come out with a bang, to impress from the beginning. The problem is, many speakers spend so much time on the beginning, they fall flat at the end. And what does the audience remember the most? The last thing you said. Think of all the TV shows you've watched that had a great run over many years, but a terrible end to the series. It left a bad taste in your mouth, didn't it? We'll talk about this more in the Create video, but I want you to memorize, even create your beginning and end before anything else. Like going on a road trip. When you know your destination, you have enough information to at least start driving. If you know where you're ending up, much like the focus on one idea, you have the freedom to take any number of different ways to get there. But the end will be powerful, memorable, and transform them. Focus on the how. Whether you have classic elocution training or you're coming right off the streets, there's no excuse for a flat-lined message. Flatlining is, of course, when the heart rate monitor in the hospital shows the rhythm of the heart going flat because the patient's heart has stopped. A flat line means death. You want to give your audience the best possible chance to remember what you're saying. To do this, you need to give them moments to pick from in your talk. If all they have is one flat speech with no changing pace, style, interaction, volume, or body language, they won't know point 1 from point 4, and your message may as well be dead in the ground. How you say what you want to say matters to connecting with the human brain. If you're passionate, they rise up with you. If you go quiet, they'll listen. If you hold space, they'll respect it. But to do any one of these or use any of the tricks that we've talked about all the way through the talk will create a flat-lined talk. No ups, no downs, no change, boring, forgettable. Think of it this way. You know you've got skills. You are a wizard. You know what all the spells are, but if you say them wrong, they will produce a completely different outcome than you intended. So, give them great moments to choose from. Say it well. Spend time focusing on the how. Focus on the one. Focus on the end and focus on the how. Doing these 3 things alone could set you apart and make your speaking magical. What I've taught you here is really just the start. These tricks have been proven to work and make outstanding connections with my audiences over the last 20 years. You are looking for some way to succeed as a speaker. I know that if you put these tricks into practice, you will take your speaking to a whole new level, and your important message will connect with your audience, making you unforgettable. These are the 5 most valuable tricks I've learned to make speaking magical. Now go. It's your turn. Take your idea, add some magic to it so you can communicate with confidence and transform your audience. In the next video, you'll see me land the plane and wrap up my talk on creating confidence. You'll see how I summarize and invite the audience to a clear challenge to take action. Then, in the final Create video, I'll help you put all that we've learned together to create a talk that is absolutely magical. Before you dive into the end of my live talk here, take some time and go through the workbook, which will help you get clear on your focus.